Mending Wall, Robert Frost. Robert Frost is a very famous American poet whose poetries begin in delight and end in wisdom. Here, the poetry Mending Wall deals with the mending and demolition of a wall which separates the properties of the poet and of his neighbor. Mending wall means making or creating wall. By creating the wall, they were actually destructing the bond between the people. This poem is set in rural New England. The poem describes how the speaker and a neighbor meet to rebuild a stone wall between their properties. It is repeated every spring season. While they were repairing the stone wall, the speaker raises some important questions. The poet, through the speaker, leads us to the wall between people and the value of human work.
Mending Wall by Robert Frost. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swell under it, and spills the upper boulders in the sun, and makes gaps even two can pass abreast.
The poet says that there is something in nature that deliberately breaks down the stone wall on his property. So, sometimes, due to the swelling under the ground, the boulders would fall down and it makes gaps through which anyone can pass on the other side.
The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair where they have left not one stone on a stone, but they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs.
The poet says another possibility. The destruction of the wall is due to the hunters. When the speaker went after the hunters, he found that the wall was destructed or fallen down almost completely as the rabbit hid among the boulders to escape from them. When it was found by the yelping dogs, the boulders may have fallen.
The gaps, I mean. No one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time you find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill. And on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each.
The poet says that even though no one has seen or heard how these gaps were made, during every springtime the speaker would inform his neighbor. Then they would meet there on one day, and while walking through the line, both of them would set the wall by arranging the boulders on their sides.
And some are loaves and some so nearly balls, we have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them.
The poet metaphorically says that some boulders are in the shape of loaves and some are bowls. He added that after placing the stone on the wall, they would use a magic spell by addressing those stones to stay where it is till they are turned. The poetic device used here is apostrophe. He also mentioned that their fingers became rough when they took large stones.
Oh, just another kind of outdoor game. One on a side, it comes to a little more. There where it is, we do not need the wall. He is old pine and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. He only says, good fences make good neighbors.
The poet says that it's a kind of outdoor game. Then he added that the wall is not needed as the neighbor has pine trees and he has apple trees. Then humorously personifies the trees by saying that the apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines. So, actually, the wall is not needed. But the neighbor says that good fences make good neighbors.
Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Why do they make good neighbors? Isn't it where there are cows? But there are no cows.
The poet says that the spring season tries to put an idea for not making the wall for the sake of a wall on his neighbor's head. So he tries to change his neighbor's mind by saying him there is no need of a wall as there are no cows.
Before I built a wall, it asked to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom it was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. I could say Alps to him. But it's not Alps exactly, and I'd rather he said it for himself.
The poet again asks what he should include or what he should exclude while making the fence. He repeats the same thing that there is something that doesn't love a wall, that won't sit down. He says that it may be the supernatural things. After a second, he himself cleared his doubts by saying that it is not those supernatural things.
I see him there bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top in each hand. Like an old stone savage armed, he moves in darkness, as it seems to me. Not of woods only and a shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbors.
The poet feels that the neighbor is like the old stone savage armed, or he represents the old civilization, and he is moving in the darkness of shades of woods and trees. The neighbor never wants to go behind from his tradition. He repeats, good fences make good neighbors. We can see that the poet gives us a great message through this poem. Walls are made not only on earth but in the heart of man. People are separated in the name of caste, creed, religion, and political barriers. Nobody has time or readiness to be friendly with his fellow beings. They are making walls and keeping themselves inside.